We just give out winners here on Fairway to Heaven. That's all we do, winners and making money. We'll see if we could do it again this week for the American Express. Fairway to Heaven, we're starting live in 30 seconds.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 woo!
And a very good evening, everybody, and welcome to Fairway to Heaven right here on the STT Sports Network. Please do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and share this show out wherever you're watching as we break down weekly the PGA Tour in a gambling and fantasy golf style here and have a little fun doing it and make fun of each other a little bit along the way. But the only way we can grow the show and grow this channel is by you smashing that like and subscribe button, retweet it out on Twitter, guys. And get your comments in. We love to answer fan questions on golfers and whatever. So, and if you're watching on replay later on tonight or this week, I check the comment section. I'll answer all replay comments as we go along as well, guys. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, and joining me as always, I forgot to turn the name tag on here, so we'll shout everybody up above right here. We got the man, Jason Sullivan, and to the other side, we got Steve Fuentes. Good evening, gentlemen. Jason, are you enjoying, like me, being Scrooge McDuck and diving into all our winnings, you know, in DuckTales and stuff like that? Because that's how I feel after cashing 110-1 Nick Taylor ticket after last week.
Got to have a nice dinner on Sunday night,
Yeah.
courtesy of Nick Taylor. It was really
There you
nice.
go.
You know? We're ready for it. You know, I do have to say one thing real quick, though. You know, it was in your opening that you created, I really want that picture of you, like, framed in my apartment somewhere. We got to make that happen for me.
Oh, my God. That picture is so old, too. That's like a 3-year-old picture right there. Steve, I know you didn't quite have the financial windfall that Jason and I did, but how you feeling today?
I'm feeling all right. It's a new week, right? That's the best part about golf is it's a quick turnaround. Get to forget about. I picked the wrong Canadian. That's I had Mackenzie Hughes.
Oh.
I had Corey Connors. I was like, oh, right when I picked him too. You said it. Oh, he's losing. God, we got that out of the way. I was like, damn it. All Monday and Tuesday, I'm watching it, and I'm like, are you serious? This is happening?
You're new to the full-time team. Jason will vouch for this. We've talked about it many a times. You never win when you bet Corey Connors. You never. Corey Connors is just like Tommy Fleetwood, the most disappointing, really good golfer there is out there. Go ahead, Jason.
One thing I've learned in DFS golf and betting is your last guy out, like you were like, oh, I can't pick another Canadian. That was basically like your last guy out. If whoever your last guy's out, you should just bet him or play him in DFS, because that happens to me too. I was actually talking to that with Jamie earlier today, and we were talking about it, and I'm like, I crossed somebody out, and she's like, you know that guy's gonna win, right? I'm like, you're right, I should put him back in.
Well, it's all good. It was fantastic. I tried to get it queued up to play the chip in. It was in the middle of the Eagles game there towards the end, so I kind of forgot about, you know, even the final round of the Sony going open, because I think I was texting you, Jason, and it was like 9 holes in, and I had like 4 guys within 3 shots, but I'm like, there's no chance anybody's going to win. You know, my lineups are okay. So I just forgot about golf, watched the Eagles game, and then I came down here to set up the morning show trending in the AM, and I just clicked on DraftKings because I had a contender in a free roll for the NFL. I was right on the cusp of making some money there, and I clicked on DraftKings, and there was all this extra money. I was like, oh, something happened. So I went, and that chip in, I love a chip in for a tie or a win in golf. Something exhilarating about chipping in. And I don't know how much you guys golf, but I've chipped in like twice in my life, and there's still some of the greatest feelings, you know, of all time right there. It's got, when you got, I don't know, how much money did Nick Taylor win? Probably like $1 million or $2 million. Like, could you imagine a chip in to win you a couple $1 million? I mean, that's exciting.
Especially for a guy that doesn't win all that much. Like, what does he have? 2 wins before that? Like, that's got to be so cool.
Yeah.
And he's cold-blooded. He's cold-blooded. Nick Taylor, you don't want to go against him in match play or in a playoff because he has big moments like that.
Did you guys see that right after it happened? I don't know who it was. I forget who. I want to give somebody credit, but I don't know who it was. Somebody tweeted out that said like they had the chip and they said this is exactly the kind of guy that we need on the U.S. Ryder Cup team.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
Hold on. Is Canada even in any of the Ryder Cup or President's Cup?
President's Cup.
They count?
President's Cup.
President's Cup, but not the Ryder Cup. So Canada is just completely eliminated from the Ryder Cup because they're not part of Europe and they're not part of the U.S.
Yep.
So Canada is just eliminated from the Ryder Cup altogether. That's, I personally, I can't stand the Ryder Cup, or the President's Cup. So,
Jeez,
what? I hate it.
I like the President's
Cup. I can't stand it. I hate the match play golf. I really do.
Oh, I love it.
I'm not a fan in general of it at all. I do miss the WGC match play tournament, like March Madness style. I do miss that, being around since they eliminated that from the tour. But outside of that, I'm not a fan of the team golf aspect. We'll get into the TGL in a second. Team golf aspect of things. But we move on this week. We're back to continental U.S. We got the American Express. It's not an Open. It's not an Invitational. It's just the American Express. And it's my least favorite event on the calendar to break down. Jason, we've done this. This is our 5th year doing the American Express. And Steve, I know you've been doing this for a little while as well. The 3-course rotation, the Pro-Am aspect, and the fact that it's a 3 rounds before the cut happens event. To me, this is one of the hardest events to really judge on a case-by-case basis because you just don't know what you're going to get on any 3 courses. You got 6-hour rounds. You've got so much happening. It's almost like a no-cut event because you're getting 3 rounds out of everybody. Steve, are you a fan first off of the style of the course rotation? This is not a 2-course rotation. This is a 3-course rotation.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of the style, or do you like the randomness of it?
I'm a fan of it because of where it's placed in the season. It's at the beginning. It's chaos, though. I don't like how long the rounds can get because of how many. You have the first 3 rounds are for the amateurs, but then, like you said, it's 3 courses for the DFS side. You don't really know how to predict this because it's a birdie fest, and it's kind of chaos in that sense.
Jason, just to reiterate what you've thought in the past of this event, thoughts again on this event and the style, just broad picture of it.
I absolutely despise when there's any course rotations. Like I just like when there's one course. I don't know. I try to not think like that, and I try to get over it. I don't care about the Pro-Am part of it. I don't think that matters all that much. I think that gets overhyped. But I just it's so hard to break it down, and I feel like especially on courses like this where there's such an advantage in showdown, just not playing guys on the stadium course. Yeah. I don't know. It kind of takes the fun out of it a little bit.
I mean, you preach a lot, Jason, about watching the waves and watching the weather and stuff like that. Like, you know how much work you have to do to figure out the weather on the 3 different days, which golfer's going to play. It's like, it's not just figuring out the waves on one course. You're looking at waves on 3 different courses if you're really trying to predict it like that. And I kind of feel like that makes it that much more difficult. And I agree with you. Showdowns might be, and I didn't have a great week on showdowns, but I did have one solid cash in showdowns last week. Showdowns might be the way to go, and just go with La Quinta. La Quinta Country Club is by far the easiest. Nicholas course isn't too hard either, but obviously the stadium course is where the bread and butter is, where that's the final round as well for those that make the cut. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, and this is also a course, and I'll get your thoughts on this, guys. Being that it's a Pro-Am, you got easier pin locations, you got slower greens, and of course the 6-hour rounds. It makes it easy for the pros that know how to manage having the celebrities alongside of them.
There's a couple things that are interesting, I think, this year. I agree with your point, though, 100%. The stadium course got new greens, and I think that's one of the biggest factors is how are those greens going to play? Usually new greens are going to be less receptive. So That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I actually hope that course plays a little bit tougher, the stadium course, just because the other 2 courses are so easy. But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. I mean, it's hard to figure out. There's no, like you always said with my wave advantage thing. There's no wave advantage this week. It's like course advantage, and which course is better to play on which day. It's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go that deep into the research to figure out each day which one is which one. It's too much. Steve, I mean, even you could play with the pin placements and the slow greens on a course like this.
I was thinking the same thing earlier today. When I was looking stuff up, I was like, dang, three of us should go out there and just and play for 3 rounds, right? Get our money's worth for at least for
we're famous podcasters. Steve, you can use your connections. Could we get Pro-Am access to this event? I'll go out. Well, I don't know if you really want to go out to California right now, but that's another whole subject. Thoughts and prayers to everybody out there in California.
Yes.
I don't know, Jason. I know we've had him on the show. I know Len isn't even at his home right now. Len Hochberg. I know he's not. His house didn't burn down, but I know he's close enough where he had to evacuate and he's staying in a friend's house. So I know a lot of friends of this show, him, Jonathan Coachman, they're all displaced right now because of the fires out there. And I think about it every day. I could not imagine. There's nothing that scares me more than fire. So thoughts and prayers to everybody out there. But we go on with it. Jason, was it you that said it's a birdie fest? Or no, Steve, you said it's a birdie fest. I think, along with the easy pin placements and the slow greens, you also got short course. It's a 7,200 max each course, wide open green or fairways. It's a birdie fest, right? So, Steve, when you're picking your golfers, I know I always have birdie fest a little bit every single week, but you really got to weigh it heavily this week, right?
Yeah, that par 5 scoring, I think, and par 5 or par 4 scoring from like 350, 450, because a lot of these par 5s are going to be gettable from the Scam Youngs of the world and stuff like that, who you could see him have a big week because he can bomb it and there's no rough to really have to deal with. I know one of these courses, I always forget which one it is, that has a lot of water hazards on it. Is that the Stadium?
Stadium. Yeah.
That's okay. So you're not really going to have to deal with that unless you make it Sunday. I think one of the days you're going to have to deal with that, depending on which wave you're in. But and approach play and putting, if those things are all clicking on a chaos course like this, really, that's kind of like what I like about the Pro-Am is it's anybody. What's his face? Davis Thompson had a chance against John Rahm that won 2003 or 23.
Yep.
So that's what I'm looking forward to.
The funny part was that was the year after John Rahm called it. What did he call it? A bullshit putting fest or whatever? Or
La Quinta, right? Yeah,
a bullshit putting contest. That's what he said, and then the next year he wins.
And then he's in live.
This is what's funny about this tournament though is we've seen. I mean, Rahm being the exception, we've seen long shot winners. This tournament's hard to kind of pin down a little bit. It's more random for sure. But I agree, like Steve said too. Par 5 scoring, like you're gonna have to score on the par 5s. There's no way around that. You're gonna have to score in big ways on those 4 par 5s on each course. I mean, that's huge, and so it'll be interesting.
I kind of feel like par 3 scoring as well with easy pin placements. Yeah. The pros should be able to attack the pin placement on the par 3. So this is like this week every year is a completely different model than any other week for me. I'm heavily weighing birdies are better. I'm heavy weighing par 5 and par 3 scoring. Putting, Jason, I never put weight under putting. I keep it off to the side. I look at it, but I never weigh putting. It's 10% of my model this week because it is, like John Rahm said, a putting contest and stuff like that. It's just a totally different event this kind of week. And again, this is why it goes into why I'm not an overall huge fan of this event. I can't get in. I just went real quick, Steve. Jason, I don't know if you noticed it. He said Scam Young. Was that a shout out to Elise? I don't know if you did that. Purposely, I don't know if that was a direct right there. I mean, she's already pissed that we haven't invited her on the show yet this year. We've already gotten hit up about that, so shout out to her right there for that,
That's right.
Yeah. So real quick, before we get into it, obviously, Xander Schauffele already withdrew from the event. He was the top name in the field. So we're going to go again another week without Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, or Xander Schauffele. I just got to shout it out and say that obviously the TGL loss last week for him was too much for him to overcome. So he's got to lick his wounds. I know you guys were anti-TGL last week when I brought it up. I sat down to watch it last week after the show, and I turned it off within 15 minutes of watching it.
Oh, 15? I gave it like 25, 30.
15 minutes.
I gave it 0. So, I mean, you guys are better golf fans than me. So
I love golf simulator play. I play on them in my brother-in-law's garage. I thought it'd be cool, and the stadium looked really cool. But you have your first week of an event like that, and you've got 6 of the most boring golfers in the world online. Like the point is to grow the game of golf, and you put 6 of the most boring people in the world out there the first week. No, it's not going to work that way, not at all. So
No,
yeah,
Tiger needs to be on the first
I
week.
might actually tune in tonight to see Tiger play,
Yeah.
but that's about why wasn't Tiger or
I
Rory
was gonna
playing
say,
the first
massive mistake not having Tiger Woods on last week.
Yeah.
That was, that's just stupid.
They
The ratings
basically
were
worked
up
the
though. The
schedule
ratings were
itself.
high.
They were.
Were they?
Yeah,
They got my rating for 15 minutes, and that was
for 15 minutes.
it.
That's all they care. That's all they care.
That's
I was
all
hoping
I
it
can do.
was. I was hoping it was going to be more video game like, where, like, instead of them just taking a course or something that you could do, or find a course that you could play anywhere in the world, put something stupid in there, like video game-ish, where you got to go around a building, like make it a city or something.
I'm
Make
Grand
it.
Theft Auto here. Do you want somebody to have to be driving a car through the stadium and everything?
But if like that's the type of audience they're trying to gear towards, anyways. Like, make it something that you're never going to be able to. What's that golf game at the bar? I can't think of it.
Not Top Golf.
You
Golden
gotta hit
Tee.
the. Yeah.
Golden
Why
Tee.
not have the creator of that make some crazy holes, or give each team like a hazard that they could place anywhere on the hole, like a coach timeout or something. Make it a video game,
Dude, it just wasn't special whatsoever. What's up, Rashad? How you doing? Gonna need y'all to go back to the 9 time slot so I can stay up and watch TGL. Yeah, dude, I think this will do. This show will be more successful this year than TGL when it's all said and done. And that's not saying much at all, right there. We'll get you on soon, Rashad, as well. So let's get into this week's field. Obviously, the Pro-Am. Jason, you said a few minutes ago that you don't take into account the Pro-Am aspect of it too much. I know we've talked about it in the past, and I'm starting to lean into your side of it. I used to think it mattered. Before we get into each golfer, why do you feel that the Pro-Am aspect, the 6-hour rounds, don't matter as much?
I mean, I feel like they do matter, but I just feel like everybody's in the same boat. I feel like they're going to get frustrated. They're not going to show it. It's funny, we talked about Scam Young earlier. I could see that being a guy that got pissed off during this because he's so mentally weak. But no, I don't put a lot into it. First of all, I don't like putting a lot into stuff that you can't measure. Like, I don't like narratives are fun, but especially with golf. But it's like at the same time, like, how do you know? I don't like to do stuff with stuff that you can't measure.
Yeah. All right, so we obviously got only 2 golfers in the 10K and above range with Xander's withdrawal this week. We've got Justin Thomas at 10-4 and Sung Jae Im, who over the last 5 years has the most shots gained total in this event. I can't say course in this event. Jason, do you like either of those 2 guys? Or are you just going to start in the 9K range like I'm going to start this week?
I like both of them, actually.
Okay.
I played a little bit of both, but I played a ton of JT. I just feel like I think the worst thing that could have happened for ownership this week was Xander having not playing the tournament. So I feel like a lot of people are going to be on those 2 guys, which does scare me a little bit, but I just feel like JT's kind of built for this course. I mean, his approach game's strong. He can't putt, which is worrisome. But I mean, 3rd last year here, and I just feel like his game sets up, especially his approach game, sets up good here.
Steve, your thoughts on either of those 2 guys? Will you be using them?
I'm not going to be using them, but I do have a outright on JT. But then, kind of like to chime in what Jason was saying, he chipped and putted here last year. So this is a course where even if that isn't your strongest suit, you can, if you're a top golfer like that and you're on your game, he could win this. But I don't want to play either one of them. I'm starting.
I'm a little concerned. I had Sung Jae Im and Xander both on my probable list here, but then Xander withdrew, and Sung Jae Im is up to over 20% now in ownership percentage. I can't really get behind that. I think now I would, if I had to, I'd cross Im's name off and go to JT. But I think there's a lot of great plays potential in the 9K range, and I got to wait till tomorrow. I want to wait till tomorrow to see how the ownership percentage shakes out in the 9K range. But I think there's a lot of great plays down here, starting with Sam Burns. You got Cantlay, you got Finau, you got Clark, you got Kim, you got Gracerman, Siwoo Kim, and Scam Young, obviously, in this range. Steve, do you got a favorite in the 9K range?
I like Tony Finau. I know his knee. He's got the knee injury, but he plays this course every year. He makes the cut. almost every single year. And his around the green play here is pretty strong. So Tony Finau in the 9K range is my favorite.
Yeah, I do like that play as well. Absolutely. Jason, what would be your first click in this area?
I like Finau too a lot. I think that's a really good play. Burns is the easy one, I think, in this range. I think everybody's going to play him, which especially with Xander coming out. But I really like Finau a lot this week too. And I think a guy that seems like he would be a good course fit of this course for me is Wyndham Clark. But you look back at his track record here, and it's not very good. It's weird. It's like he models out really well. He does all the things you need to do here. But
and he doesn't have to worry about missing the fairway.
Right. He just hasn't had a ton of success here. But I am going to kind of pivot off of some of these higher owned guys. And I think Finau and Clark are both really good plays this week.
What do you guys think about Tom Kim? Because again, a shorter course, which I know you don't have to be accurate on these courses, but it is a Pete Dye. The stadium course is a Pete Dye course, which is a little bit positional. Tom Kim was a hot commodity last week, kind of fell apart late last week. And his ownership still, despite Xander going out, is still pretty low. Is this a week where maybe you buy low on Tom Kim? He's on my teeter list right now. I got a couple names I'll give you in a second that I'm playing definitely. But Tom Kim's on my teeter list because I kind of feel like 3 rounds of him guaranteed. He could score enough in this range here to make a top 20 appearance, which I think I just saw he's only at 7% right now.
It's hard because he has a mixed course history.
8.5% he's at right now.
He's played this event 3 times, 2 missed cuts, and a 6th. So it's like the most polarizing course history ever. It's like you either top 6 or you miss the cut. It's tough.
I like his intensity though too when he plays, and this is like one of those courses where you see there's no Xander. It's Sanjay, it's JT up there. This could be like what Phil said, a week where does he go off, and what you said T6 was his best finish. Yep. So yeah, this could be Tom Kim week.
So there's a name that's very popular. I like him. He modeled out great for me. It's in the 9K. His ownership is sub 13% right now. He's a top putter in the group. He's second in the field, and birdies are better right now. He's great par 5 scoring, and every tout out there is talking about him. I bet him. I think one of you guys bet him as well. Max Gracerman. And
you're gonna say
I'm shocked the amount of people that are talking about him that his ownership is not higher right now. Are we overthinking it? Maybe he's not. I was just shocked that he was even in the 9K to begin with, honestly.
I think that's the biggest part. I'm going to play devil's advocate to you guys on this one a little bit.
Absolutely.
I'm fading him.
Okay. I want to know why, because I feel like it's too good to be true, everything I'm saying and reading about him.
It's just because of the price for me. I mean, he played here last year, 56. Obviously, he's a lot different golfer now. I just worry about him in this range. I don't think he's at the level quite of the Finaus, Clarks, Burns level quite yet. He's a great player. I think he's going to be really good, but for me, that price tag is scary for me. So it's not based on his talent. He's a great player in general, but I worry about him. I'm pretty sure his approach numbers have not been all that great for the last 36. So I do worry about that a little bit here, and just he
is 90th in the field in approach. Yeah. It's the only thing he doesn't rank inside the top 35 over the last 36. Second on birdies are better. 19th on good drives gained. 6 par 3, 6 par 5, 33 the 350 to 400, 26 4 to 450. Second in putting. Number 1 in the field shots gained total over the last 36. So there's a lot pointing at him. And that's why I jumped on the bet right away. What did I get him at? Got him at 40 to 1. But on the flip side, maybe the price is why his ownership is going low, Steve.
And yeah, definitely why it's going low. But his putting, I think, too, and how on a course, on a birdie fest like this, and how his current form is, because you don't necessarily have to be in any sort of great form of play right now for a course like this. This course could get you into, into great form. So, but I think he's low definitely because of the price, like what Jason was saying. People are going to shy away from him because of that.
I'm gonna fade Sam Burns this week, and I'm probably gonna fade Tom Kim. It's Finau, it's Gracerman, and it might be Patrick Cantley as well for me in this range. Another guy that's had some really strong success. Eric saying Morikawa is not in the field. Eric, Sam Burns is. He is one of the favorites to win the event. But we love Burns. You. Yeah, you got to go Burns because he's the only one of the 2 in the field. So you got to go there. All right, into the 8K range. Obviously, you got Davis Thompson at the top. everyone's favorite Harry Hall, Kirk Yama, Mr. Collapse last week, JJ Spawn, Eric Cole's a popular name this week. There's a lot of names, and last week's champion, Nick Taylor, who, despite winning last week, has modeled out horrendously for me this week. He doesn't strike me as a back-to-back winning kind of guy. Jason, we'll start with you. Favorite play in the 8K range this week?
Listen, you play Nick Taylor on Nick Taylor courses, okay?
Yes.
And this is not one of them.
Exactly accurate right there.
This range is loaded, in my opinion. I love this range so much. My favorite play is probably going to be the most chalky play in this range, but I don't care. Eric Cole. I just feel like the way he sets up, the way his game sets up with the approach and the putting, I feel like he's not going to win because I don't think Eric Cole's that kind of guy, but I think top 10 is definitely incoming. So Cole's going to be my most heavily owned.
Yeah. Doesn't scare you that he's probably going to creep up to 20% ownership?
No.
You're a big person of playing X guy don't play when they're chalky. You're not worried about a chalky Eric Cole.
Certain guys that I don't play. It's funny because I have like notes in my phone. Like when you have that notes app, I have a whole list of who not to play when they're chalky, and Eric Cole's not on it. I just feel like Eric Cole they know that he's not going to win. So I feel like he's a little bit underpriced a lot. We see him a lot in the 7s. We see him in the low 6s. The low 8s. I feel like this is just a week that he's not going to win, but I could easily see a 5th or 6th finish. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
And that would give you good value there for him as well. Steve, where are you looking in the 8K?
Eric Cole was one of them. 10 top 15 finishes last season. And didn't he have like how many tournaments in a row did he play? Wasn't he like one of the guys who was like on a stretch of
and then he just ran out
incredible? He basically gassed himself. Yeah, absolutely. I think we covered that like 3 or 4 times on this show last year.
He played like 30 events in a row at one point.
That's what I think it was something like that.
Yeah.
So he's top 10 sort of finish guy. But I like Will Zalatoris.
Okay.
He's got pretty solid course history, and he put on 20 pounds of muscle in the off season. I was reading. And so I think this will be last year. He was supposed to be, him coming back off of injury and playing better. And it didn't really pan out to be that way. But I think this year is the year that Will Zalatoris kind of gets back to.
I like his ownership at 7%. That's for sure.
Off the tee. Like his advantage was always off the tee, and he couldn't do it with his back last year. I feel like if he gets that back, which he looked like he did last time out, and I just feel like I love that play too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Zalatoris is not on my card. Cole is on my maybe. I'm just scared, Jason, about the ownership there. I'm looking at Davis Thompson at the top. Second place here in 2023. Harry Hall. I know he has inconsistent, success here, but I like Harry Hall's game and where it's at right now. And I know he hasn't played here in a couple of years, and I know he collapsed last week. But I sometimes rather play the guy that collapses the week before than the guy that wins the week before. They got something to prove, and I like JJ Spawn's game at this course as well. I know a lot of people like Brian Harmon. I don't know about Brian Harmon, but I'm sticking to the top end, Davis Thompson, Harry Hall, JJ Spawn in this range. That's just my personal opinion.
Quick point on Davis Thompson too is so I looked at it. He looked terrible last week at the Sony, and I looked at it. So he's actually the past 2 years he's finished really well here. I think he has a 2nd and a 21st. I think in his 2 appearances here. Both of those years he also sucked at the Sony. So
there you go. I love those kind of little narratives because,
maybe
like I said last week, I love guys that succeed in Hawaii. Like there's always those kind of little narratives that maybe he just can't handle the Hawaii trip. Maybe
starts off a little slow. Maybe that's
too much
for him. Yeah, I think
he's a young husband. Maybe he's got a kid. Who knows what's going on over there? Families are all involved when you're over in Hawaii and stuff. Some people don't handle the Hawaii tour very well those 2 weeks there.
That's a big thing that I like to do. I like to see guys that aren't necessarily the top of the line guys, but like, a little bit lesser players. I like to see how, if they have really good course history at a course, I like to see how they did the week before, going back a few years to see, like, are they coming in hot and they just stay hot at this course? Or like in Thompson's case, he's sucked the last 2 years in the Sony and been great in this tournament. So,
all right, down to the 7K range. A guy that I didn't have a bet on, but I had a lot of lineups with, starts it off and he finished in the playoff there with Nick Taylor losing to him, Nicholas Echeverria. He didn't get the price bump like some other guys like Gracerman or whatnot did this week. He's still in the upper 7K range, and that's why his ownership's a little higher again, just like JJ Spawn, I like him this week, even though he's only played here once, didn't have a great finish, whatever. Again, another young guy early in the season that's trying to make a name for himself. I'm going to bite the ownership percentage of, unless it gets over like 14 or 15, I'm going to bite the ownership and load them on Echeverria. Steve, where are you going up here in the upper 7K range?
I messaged Jason earlier my my outright card, and I have a Mac.
Eric's
Misner
just
on
trying
there.
to drop the little golf knowledge he can. And I love you,
I'm here
Eric.
for
Eric,
it.
you are the gatekeeper, my man.
Yeah.
Trying to drop that little bit of knowledge. He's an OG for me. Sorry about that, Steve.
No, you're good. I got Mac Misner.
Okay.
Iron play, wedge play. I think that'll be he's second shot golfer sort of course. He's set up for this, and I like Sepp Straka. I just think the way he kind of on Saturday kind of crapped the bed, but he had a good Sunday, and he had a great on a great Thursday. He was up there on the leaderboard on Thursday and Friday. And I think that sort of he can get hot with the putter. He's one of those guys that can be up there on the leaderboard.
Absolutely
Criminally
agree with you on that.
underpriced, I think, too. I think he's way better than that price point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean 7,600 is really damn low for Sepp Straka for sure.
In a field
Jason,
like
where are
this,
you looking at in this range?
I actually like both of your guys' plays. But my favorite two probably in this range, Hadwin and Hoagie. Hadwin's course history here is just so good. I mean, you can't argue with this. It sets up perfectly for him too. He's a great putter in theory. He wasn't last year, but he's a great putter.
In theory, yeah.
And then Hoagie's a great iron player. I mean, it's just it seems like it fits both of them. Both of them have really good course history. Both are going to be super chalky, I would imagine, but I don't care. Playing both.
All right, so a name I know is getting a lot of hype. Hold on, let me double check. He's got great course history. Let me see where his ownership at. It's still under 10%, and he's got a 2nd and 11th here in the last 2 years. I wish K1 was watching. He might be in the background somewhere.
There it is.
The guy that I like to butcher the name of more than anybody in life, Christian Bazunhut. Okay, the greatest name in the history of golf, right there. I do like him a lot this week. He was, I think, my first or second bet I made at 80-1 this week. We've seen long shots. We've seen John Rahm types win this event. Honestly, I'm not just betting him and playing him because I like the name. I think he has a really strong chance at contending this week, at least a top 5, top 10 this week. Are you buying the Christian Bazunhut hype, Steve?
No, just to be that guy. Just to be that guy. I'm not. I think there's more value in this range. There's too much in this range to, especially what are his numbers? What's his ownership looking like?
It's
8% right now.
9.
Last year he finished it. Last year he finished 11th place. The year before that, no, last year 2nd place. The year before that, 11th place in this event. Year before that, 40th. Never missed the cut here.
Well, I've never missed a cut here. I mean, I just think, like I said, I think
I'm turning them really fast.
There's better value in this range, in the 7K range for me.
Okay, Jason. I know you bet him as well, right?
I'm all in. I feel like if there was a course, there's not that many courses that you're like, yeah, I think he could actually win. I think this is one, or courses, I should say. He's such a short player that. But his approach game is good, and he's a great putter. I feel like if he's ever going to win a tournament, it's going to be something like this. So
I mean, he's never won a tournament. He had a 2nd place last year, a 4th last year, and he had 3 top 10s last year. He's not an elite golfer by any stretch of the imagination. He finished, I think, like 108th or 118th in my model this week.
I'm just shocked that he's that low owned. I really thought his course history would bump him up.
Yeah, I thought,
and that's another one of those cases where maybe we wait and see. And maybe that ownership does as more people do shows, as more people hype him up. Because I've seen him. I expect him, the golf tip checker account on Twitter. I don't even know who runs that. I bet you he makes the top 10 tipped golfers this week, in my opinion. So when that comes out, you kind of see some of the numbers start to rise on ownership. I don't think, like, I bet him because I think the 80-1 number is awesome for him with his course history. But realistically, does he really? We always talk about win equity. Does he have a chance to really win? I mean, probably not. But if you put him in 40% of your lineups and he finishes in the top 10 and he's got sub 10% ownership, that's a good return on your investment on DFS, right?
Absolutely. Are there any guys
I
that
like-
you guys like in the lower half of the 7K that like sleeper-ish?
I like names. I don't love. The lower part. I'll get 1 click here, 2 clicks there on a lot of names. I like Lucas Glover pretty much anywhere when he's in the low 7K range in a weak field. Alex Smalley. I'm going to go Putnam again this week and Highsmith again. All 4 of those names are on my list. They won't be 8 clicks, 9 clicks. They'll be 3 clicks, 4 kicks. But I think I could get a good variety of those names, Jason.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Did you guys hear that?
All right, whatever. I keep
tune.
checking my phone too.
I was shocked that Smalley was owned. Like I thought I found like a diamond in the rough with Smalley when I was doing my research.
Okay.
I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be like 2%. I was shocked to see 9.8%.
Yeah.
I like Smalley a lot this week. Chan Kim's the other one. I feel like he does things good that I want to see at this course. I mean, he's good drives. He's 7th in the field. Approach, he's okay. Proximity 150 to 175. He's 16th around the green. He's good. I feel like his value here is good. I think he did pretty well here last year also, if I'm not mistaken. What did he do last year?
Kim?
14th here last year. So Chan Kim's one for me. And then Smalley was definitely my favorite one. But then Jackson Suber. I mean, this dude is a stud. He's a rookie on the tour. Nobody really talks about him at all. And I think he finished 6th last week. If I'm not mistaken. I know top 10 for sure. This dude is good with his approach. I mean, if he can get it going, and he makes a lot of birdies too. So Jackson Suber. Name to look out for.
I'm going to write his name down. He wasn't even on my board, but I love new names. Maybe he'll be my new Sean O'Hare. Just Steve, anybody down in that bottom end that you like?
The 2 names that you mentioned, Lucas Glover and Putnam. I like Putnam on any sort of weekend or week that it's a birdie fest, and then on a short course, I like Lucas Glover a lot. If he is definitely going to be low owned, and if you wanted to go after guys like JT and Sanjay, you could probably pull both them off and play a couple of these guys in the low 7s.
It's crazy. We talked about some guys being overpriced in the top end and their ownership being low. I think these guys like Smalley and Glover and Putnam are underpriced, and that's why their ownership is so high at this point. Because I think some of these names you could have flip-flopped and you would have different results in these ownerships and stuff like that.
That's why it sucks when there's a guy like Xander in the field and then he withdraws, because I feel like the pricing is so skewed now. Because it's like you would see if Xander with WD'd last week, you'd see JT's price elevated, you'd see Sanjay's price elevated to where you had to actually make a decision. You couldn't play both of them.
How about in the 6K range? Any names? I kind of feel like this week versus last week, it's a little weaker in the 6K range. It's going to be a little harder to pluck names out. But Steve, any names in the 6K that you like this week?
If I'm gonna go an amateur name. It'd be Frankie Cappan. I just think he does. He was great on the Corn Ferry Tour, and it's just a guy, Frankie Cappan, right? It just sounds like
the name just sounds cool.
Frankie, yeah, like at the top of the leaderboard sort of deal. You know what I mean? He had he finished the season in the Corn Ferry Tour. A 1st and a 5, and I think like on a birdie fest like this, when you're going to get at least 3 rounds out of him, if you're going to have to go down low, he's the guy for 6K in the 6K range. That's the guy for me.
I like it. Jason,
Matty Schmid is my favorite one. Talk about a guy that I thought would be really highly owned that isn't. This dude's just better than everybody else in this range. I mean, 7th in birdie or better, 2nd in par 5 scoring. He's a really good putter. He scores a lot. I mean, like I think he had a really bad round last year at this tournament, which kind of cost him a little bit, but I think Schmid's my favorite for sure. And then another rookie on the tour, Paul Peterson. He just talk about a scorer. I mean, this guy can score. Right. And I feel like if there's ever going to be an event where these guys kind of turn out a little bit, it's these birdie fests where they can. He's not going to come out and win a tough tournament. Right. He's not going to win Arnold Palmer. But in a birdie fest where 28, 29 under is the winning score, I think he could be up there. Paul Peterson.
I like it. I got Bridgman, 12th in birdies or better, 2nd on the shorter par 4s, a top 12 putter, top 14 on par 4s in general. Interesting little name there. And a name that's going to, he's a terrible golfer at this point in his career, or right now in general. But hold on, where was his course history?
Can I guess?
He hasn't made the cut here the last 2 years, but he did have a T14 a few years ago at this event. And right now in the top 36 or last 36 rounds, He's 10th on approach, 24th in par 3 scoring, 15th in par 5 scoring, 15th on short par 4s, and that's David Lipsky. Just a name that, will score in some of those. But again, it's weak. I don't even think I need to dip much in there because, again, I'm fading those top 10K guys most likely. I'm not playing a lot of 9K guys. I'm sticking to those 7s and 8s. I'm not going to have to dip low, but if you need low names, there it is.
If you're looking for a David Lipsky type golfer, Paul Peterson. He reminds me of David Lipsky.
I'm going to look into Peterson, Catlin, and what was the other name? Suber?
Who
was the other one?
Suber, yeah.
Suber. Yeah, I can't read my own handwriting when I jot it down.
Who else is actually? I can't believe I'm saying this in 2025. But Zach Johnson's not a bad player. I mean, he has really good course history, and
absolutely
he's another guy. At this point in his career, he can't contend on these big courses. These short courses.
Is he 13 months away from joining the senior tour at this point? He's only in on a money exemption right now. I like that. I like that pull.
He's gonna be first round leader.
First round leader. You know what? I haven't bet first round leader in 2 years. I used to waste so much money on that. And of course I did last week on Nick Taylor. And he was literally one shot off with 4 holes to go. And he went like bogey, double bogey or something like that in the first round and didn't even come close. I was so pissed off. I'm like, this is why I don't sweat the first round leader. All right. For guys that are new to the show, we have a little fun here every week. We do a one and done and we do a DFS snake style draft after 1 week. The one and done. Jason is a whopping $0. My guy Andrew Putnam had 52,000, and Jason, you had Chris Kirk, I think, last week.
Chris Kirk, yep.
Yeah, and Steve, who did you pick last week? The one 280.
Keegan Bradley.
Keegan Bradley. There you go. And then our weekly DFS, and shout out to Steve for making this really cool graphic here. I won. Pat on the back. Yay. It'll be my only win all year long, but I won. Yay.
Well, since you won, you're going to pick the order this week.
Yes, I get to pick the order. I get to pick the total order or just where I'm picking?
You get to pick the whole order.
Oh, I love that. I'm going last, just so you guys know.
By the way.
I want last.
Okay with it.
I'll go Steve 1. I'll go Jason 2. And I'll go me 3rd, just so you know.
What a scumbag.
Yeah. And then we'll do our one and dones. Then we'll go over any bets because I only mentioned 2 of the bets that I got this week. So Steve, you're on the board. Yeah, thank you, Eric. Yay! Pat on the back. I won. Yay! Yeah, it's the only time.
I can't wait till Eric finds out who you really are. Deep down.
Eric and I are close. Eric used to live in Coatesville here back in the day where I'm from.
Joking.
So
I'm joking.
Eric's been following me since the DSM media days. So Eric and when Marshawn pops in, they're OG followers right there. So I love me some of those guys. So Steve, you get to go first with the first bet or first pick. Who you going with?
I am going to go with I talked about him. Go with Zalatoris.
Willie Z. All right. Jason?
Well, that's me. I'm going to go with my man. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to go with Jackson Suber.
Suber. You're going cheap to start it off. All right, hold on. Me and the beard are thick as thieves. I don't know about that. I'm thick right here. This is where I'm thick right here. That's about it there, Eric. All right, so I got 2 on the board. We're going to start at the top, and I'm going to take Gracerman right off the board. And then I am going to go down and take Bazudenhout second right there as my first 2 picks. Bazudenhout and Gracerman. And it's right to you there, Jason.
I'm going to go Eric Cole.
Eric Cole. Going chalk right off the bat. I like it.
1 chalk, 1 not chalk.
Yeah, 1 chalk, 1 not chalk. There you go. That makes sense.
All right. I got 2.
Stevie, you're on the board for 2 picks here.
All right. Give me Sep.
Love that pick.
And let's go with Mac Misner.
Mark
gotcha.
Mark Misner.
There's a name from like 1987 right there.
Misner is. I'm surprised Misner's price is what it is this week. I know he didn't really touch on.
I still haven't quite figured out who he is as a golfer. He's always a popular name, but I can't really figure out what he is.
Really good approach player. I think his game. I think he's way better than this price tag. I'll just put it like that.
Did you guys actually try and spell Bazoonhoot's last name on your paper?
B-E-Z-H-I. No, I can't do it. I tried.
Nice.
No,
I usually just go with the Seabass on that one.
I just go B-E-Z on my card at all times. Hold on, I have it written down here. B-E-Z-U-I-D-E-N-H-O-U-T. Yeah, there you go.
What was Steve's second pick? I missed it. I think I missed it.
Seth.
He went Sepp Straka and Max Meyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straka.
And now you're back on the board for your third pick, Jason.
I'm gonna go Adam Hadwin.
Hadwin. Okay, I like that.
Nice.
I was just thinking of taking him, but I didn't want to. So now I don't have to. So I like that. One of those picks that I'm probably going to play and probably regret playing is
Can
just
you guys
my
hear my
opinion.
kid talking in the background or no?
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, sorry.
It's Jax. Jax is smarter than all of us. So you should let Jax pick your lineups. Honestly, to be honest with you.
No joke, he's better than me. We each do a NFL pick each week, and he's better than me at it. No joke.
All right, so I'm up, and I'm going to go with Harry Hall and Echeverria as my
Harry
next two
Hall.
picks.
I love
Keep
Harry
it
Hall.
very level. I'm trying to build a lineup without a 6K or 9. Well, I did get a 9K, but a low 9K guy. I'm trying to keep it very balanced, this lineup. This
Big
week.
on Harry Hall this week, too. Great approach, great putter.
Absolutely. Harry Hall could win, honestly. Honestly.
All
All right, so you're back on the board there.
I'm going to go Sammy Burns.
Burns. That's Eric's pick. Eric likes Sam Burns this week because Morikawa's not in the field. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. What do we got? I got two. Let's go Tony. I'm going to go Tony Finau.
Finau, okay.
Underpriced.
And
Yes.
Kitayama.
And Kitayama. He's on my maybe list here, so that's not a bad play right
You know
there.
what I didn't see coming? Kitayama being the model darling for the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
He's
That-
finished
that-
first
He
in my-
does that a couple
Yeah.
times a year. He pops in models and
He's
stuff
finished
like
first
that.
in my model last week and this week, which is weird.
Yeah. That's kind of crazy. Sometimes that's why models are kind of overrated. You
Yeah.
kind of got to know where to read and between the lines and stuff like that on them. So
Agreed. I'm gonna go Davis Thompson.
Thompson, I like that. All right. So my final two picks. This was very easy. You guys didn't steal a single one of my plays this week. Very happy with that. We are going Tom Hoagie and JJ Spawn. Leaves me with $100 on the board.
I like that. All right,
Okay. Jason, your final pick.
I'm gonna play the hot hand. I'm gonna go Fishburne.
Fishburne. It was either Fishburne or Hoagie as my first pick there. So I like that. Didn't you like him a lot last week? And he
Yeah, I did.
kind of fell apart late last week.
Finished sixth though. I mean, he
Yeah.
was 7,100. You'll take that.
But wasn't he in first place at some point on
Yeah.
Saturday? Or
He was in
Sunday?
first place part of Friday and Saturday too.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, your last pick there, Stevie.
Man.
Or
Took my last
Steven.
pick. I was going.
Steve, I forgot.
No, I fixed
Steven.
It's weird.
I fixed
Can
it.
I make one more point on Fishburne real quick? I feel like it's weird that he got such a big price increase, but like Messner didn't. I mean, like
Yeah.
other guys in that range, Suber didn't. It's like it's very weird that they picked him. To get
Putnam.
in.
Putnam for where he finished last
Putnam,
week
yeah.
too. It
Glover,
really. All right, let's go. I hate this one. Let's go. I'm gonna go Jason Day.
Jason Day. We haven't even mentioned his name. I kind of forgot he was even in the field till you just said his name.
I like when somebody picks.
So
this.
did I until I was running.
I hate this pick, but here we go.
Oh,
Wouldn't you
man.
like to
So
see, like,
He's gonna
NFL
win.
Wouldn't you like to see
Oh,
NFL
yeah.
teams do that? Be like, with the 30th pick in the draft, the Philadelphia Eagles, they hate this pick, but they're going to pick.
hey, we took Nolan Smith with the 30th pick a few years
Yeah.
ago, and look at him dominating right now. So, Steve, you got Zalator, Sepp Straka, Mac Meisner, Tony Finau, Kitayama, and Day. Jason, you got Suber, Cole, Hadwin, Burns, Thompson, Fishburne, and I got Gracerman, Bazudanu, Echeverria, Hall, Spawn, and Hoagie. Guys, I'm 2-0. I'm just calling it right now. 2-0 coming from this guy right now. There's no doubt about it in my mind. Jason, I'll let you go first.
Well, since I'm in last place, I get to go first, right?
Oh, you're in last place, so you get to do your one and done first. Okay, gotcha.
I'm
I didn't know
going-
they were the rules. You just made that rule up on the spot.
I'm going Seabass.
Seabaz, you're
What's
going
his real name,
Bazunu.
Phil?
What?
What's his real name?
Bazunu? I don't even know how to properly pronounce it. That's just how I say it.
Christian Bazadenhout.
Bazaden? No, that doesn't sound as cool. It's Bazunhut, okay?
Yeah, that
Christian.
sounds too proper.
It's Christian Bazunhut. It's
Christian.
always Christian Bazunhut. As long as we're picking one spot before the Cowboys, I love it. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Everybody in this room hates the Cowboys. All right, so he's got Bazunhut. Steve, who are you taking in the one and done?
Give me.
No, you're picking next.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm picking
you are.
next. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. We can double up. I could take Bazoo Newt if I
Yeah, it
wanted
doesn't
to,
matter.
and
Yeah.
I would just stay ahead of you no matter what. But I'm going to go Echeverria this week.
Okay.
Got to get rid of the guys you're not going to need for majors
Yep.
right now.
And that's
Got to
why-
save Sam Burns or JT for later in the year and a one and done. Well, that's my theory at least.
That's why I'm gonna go with Harry Hall.
There you go. I literally was looking at my bets. I'm like, do I take Harry Hall or do I take Echeverria?
Gotta play him while he's hot because you know that's
Yeah,
not gonna
you
last.
got to.
Yep. It was either gonna be
real
him or
quick,
Cole.
I mentioned I have Max Gracerman at 40-1. I did have a $5 free bet, so I did throw that on Harry Hall at 40-1. I got Patrick. I did bet Fishburne this week at 50-1. Eric Cole, even though I'm not going to DFS play him much, I did bet him 50-1. Echeverria 55-1, and Seabez Bazoo Newt at 80-1. They were my 6 bets. I kind of spread it out a little bit more. My money. I didn't go really tiny on a super long shot and heavy on a favorite. I just kept it spread out across the board. Steve, you want to go over your betting card this week?
I have Justin Thomas plus 1,200, Kurt Kitayama plus 3,300, Tom Hoagie plus 5,500, Sepp plus 6, and Mac Misner plus 700 or plus 7,000.
All right, and Jason, I know we got Bazoo and Hoop both on our card, but who else you got in your
I
card?
like how Steve said hoagie. Hoagie.
Hoagie. It's a hoagie. Can I get an Italian hoagie with no onions and some oil and vinegar?
Hoagie. I have
That's my
Sam
Delco
Burns.
accent. My hoagie.
I have Sam Burns 18-1. I have Hoagie at 60 also. I have Davis Thompson 45-1. I have Seabez at 80-1, and then I added today Jackson Suber at 110-1.
Ooh, you're going back. Well, you got Taylor at 100, but
Yeah.
trying to go 2 straight 110-1 wins.
So I added that
Wow.
one. I posted earlier, and then I like Jackson Suber, so figured 110. I'd throw a couple bucks on him.
Dude, Eric, we have fun. This is totally different than trending in the AM right here. Okay, totally different atmosphere with the three of us here talking golf. Let me tell you something, Eric. If you're a fantasy football guy, you need to start paying attention and you need to get involved in fantasy golf. It is 1,000 times more fun than fantasy football. Instead of 1 day of presents, you get 4 days of fun. Okay, just a little playoff there.
And it's
Now, I
not
do
so
have-
damn hard to win like football.
It is so hard to win,
Yeah.
but when you win, it is so much more gratifying, isn't it?
Well, in like football, you're never going to win. It's just you're not. There's too many people
Yeah,
that play
exactly.
football.
When I get a 6-for-6 lineup, I lose
Win.
my shit. I am like,
Win.
yes, this is serious. I am locked in on what I'm doing for the weekend.
Did
I
you
like
not
how
have
when
many
you get a
6 for
6 of
6s,
6s,
Steve,
I'm
last
like,
week?
I think
Because I know Jason had 0 6 for 6s.
I had most of mine were 3 for
Oh,
6s.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I like how-
I literally I picked all the wrong Canadians. I'm telling you,
I
all
had
the
one
wrong.
week.
I had
You get a
2
6
6
for
for
6 and you just
6s and
think-
9 5 for 6s last week.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I had a pretty successful week last week. Like I
I like
said.
how you just always think like you get a 6 of 6 and you're like, this lineup's going to contend for sure.
And then it does.
and then it does.
Like,
Out there, I'm like, yes.
My 5 for 6 scored more points than my 6 for 6. So yeah. So I got one question for you guys, okay? Because next week's show might be a little longer than an hour. Because there is a chance that next week's show, it's Eagles versus Lions after we talk golf, because we got Mr. Detroit Lion right here and 2 Philadelphia Eagles fans. So next week, if it is that, we're going to be
My
talking
kid
already.
already Lions.
Jax has got to
said
get in
what?
on the camera. We're going to have to do like a split screen like this,
Flex
Lions
screen,
versus
yeah.
Eagles.
Yeah.
I'm
What
in.
are the odds, Jason, that next week we're talking Eagles Lions after golf?
I was going to say 100%, but that seems a little much.
100%.
I'd say 92%. Listen.
Again,
Jaden
I
Daniels.
love it. I love it.
Jaden Daniels might have something else to say. I'm just saying.
I do not think the Detroit Lions are scared of Jaden Daniels.
People in Detroit think they're going to lose. They're going to win by like 30.
Oh man, JDS pulls the upset. Rashad's saying the upset too.
If that happens, Rashad's not allowed to come on anymore.
Yeah. Oh man, I you know what? I can't wait so I can see Jason cry when the Eagles stop the Lions from getting to the Super Bowl again.
Listen, you almost
Jack,
saw me
you hear
cry
that?
last year when the Lions blew the whatever they were winning, 24-6 lead against San Francisco. I almost cried that time. I'll be honest with you.
Oh man, Steve,
Chris,
are you ready for next week? Because there's going to be even more trash talking if it's Eagles versus Lions.
For that purpose, I hope that the Christmas tree is still up. But I have a feeling that come Sunday morning, it might be the Christmas tree might be coming down.
Listen, if the Lions lose to the Commander, I might spin kick my tree over.
If you spin kick your Christmas tree, can we get a video of it?
Yes.
Because I could put that on the YouTube page. We would do so many views, just like people ripping their TVs off the screen. Spin kicking your Christmas tree would do numbers on social media, just so you know.
It would. Gotta get to that.
You get it in slow-mo, like a zoom in on the
face. Can I ask you one
then
question,
too?
Jason? As a degenerate gambler like us, do you think the 9.5-point line is too much
for us?
Yeah,
for you. I didn't.
No,
know
for you. You guys are 9.5 favorites, right?
So it went up. No.
I thought it was too much of a line. Wasn't it 9.5 or was it 8.5? I thought it was 9.5
yesterday, so I didn't look today. So
yeah,
that seems right. No, I don't think it's too much.
No,
people forget. Like people have seen all the injuries on defense, and they can't stop anybody anymore. This is the best offense in football by far. Yeah. I think so.
Montgomery's back too, right?
Yeah.
On
defense,
guys,
call me crazy.
We're gonna wrap this shebang up for the night right here. Oh, sorry. Do you have something else?
I was just gonna say Montgomery being back. I think they're better without him. I know that's weird, but
more Gibbs is better, right?
Yeah,
Gibbs. Yeah.
I would say this. I'm a little scared of that Lions-Eagles championship game. That's we're on a collision course for. I'm a little concerned about it. So yeah.
That's
anyway,
why
we're gonna wrap this up here.
Commanders win. That's why I'm talking it into existence. That way that I don't have to have that fear.
Oh my goodness gracious! All right, guys, this was Fairway to Heaven right here on the STT Sports Network. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. Please hit that share button. Please hit that subscribe button. If you spin kick your tree, you have to have a Ken Hatch's karate. Oh man, Eric never misses a beat. I love you, Eric. Yeah, I think we've converted Eric to a golf fan here. At least he's become a fan of this trio right here on the screen.
Right.
Guys, everybody have a great night. Like I said, like, share, subscribe. I am Phil Stiefel. We got Stevie Fuentes next to me and the Detroit Degenerate, Jason Sullivan, down below. Everybody have a great evening. Make sure to like, subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow, same bat channel at 8 a.m. for Trending in the AM, guys. Have a good one, and bubbles up to you.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep.